I'm going to make this simple and jump straight into it. If you want to change your life, you have to change your self-image. And if you want to change your self-image, read Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. Trying to change your life or change your habits without changing your self-image is a lot like trying to swim upstream a very powerful river. It's a losing battle. But changing your self-image to align with the person you want to be and then trying to change your habits, it's like swimming downstream. The river works with you. In this analogy, your brain is the current. When you try and change your habits without changing your self-image, your brain has a self-image of that you're somebody who does these things. You do the current habits you've been doing for the last 5-10 years or whatever it is of your life. And when you try and do the good habits, you're going against your brain. And your brain is going to win every single time, I hate to tell you. Like I said, it's like swimming upstream. You're going to get tired. Your willpower is going to run out. You can watch all the David Goggins videos you want to watch. You can watch all the motivational videos you want to watch. Your brain will always win. And one thing that really put this into perspective for me, or something that I use to really understand just how powerful your brain is I remember listening to a Jordan Peterson podcast. He was speaking with this guy. I forgot his name. It was Dr. Mattia something. He's a doctor, okay? He's a doctor. And they were speaking briefly about how you don't want to fight against your hypothalamus. And your hypothalamus is basically the part of your brain that keeps you alive. It's the one that makes you hungry, right? It's the one that releases all those hormones, what are they called? Ghrelin, like the one that makes you hungry. If you've ever tried to like lose weight and you've gone through like a binge starve cycle, that's you trying to fight against your hypothalamus, right? You say, oh, I'm gonna lose all the weight I'm gonna lose all this weight, I'm gonna starve myself, right? I'm basically gonna starve myself to lose weight, right? And you go through like a period of a couple of days. What you realize is you have lost every single time. Like the way you actually lose weight properly is if you do it gradually. You work with your brain, right? You sort of trick your brain and you're like, oh, you start eating like foods that'll make you full. You lower your calories bit by bit. You increase your cardio as well. Like when you try and starve yourself and you fight your brain one-on-one, you lose, right? And I remember Jordan Peterson saying, it's like, if you try and fight your hypothalamus, you will lose every single time, because that thing has evolved for thousands of years, for 10,000 years to keep you alive. So you're not beating it. You're just not. Right? And it's a similar thing when it comes to trying to change your life and your habits, right? You cannot fight your unconscious brain. You have to work with it, okay? So, why did I mention the unconscious brain? Okay, these are all things I learned in Psycho-Cybernetics, right? 95% of what you do is unconscious, right? And I know we like to think that, oh, you know, I've got a prefrontal cortex, we're well evolved and all that, and, you know, I'm a logical person, but 95% of whatever you do is emotional. Even the most logical people, you know, 95% of what they do is emotional. It's just that 95%, their conscious brain is aligned with the type of person they believe themselves to be, right? So, have you ever thought of like, okay, I just explained to you the binge starve cycle thing. I'm going to use another analogy, right? Have you ever thought of like when you're like, oh, tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna change my life. When I wake up early, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna gym. I'm gonna do all these good habits. I'm finally gonna change my life. And then tomorrow comes, it's cold, the blanket is warm, the alarm is annoying, and you just turn it off and you're like, I'm going to sleep. Like how many times has something like that happened? You're watching this video, so I'm assuming it's happened a lot. That right there is an example of your subconscious mind winning. Like I said, 95% of what you do is unconscious, right? And I want to use another thing I learned from Psycho-Cybernetics. This is just me trying to convince you. I'm trying to convince you, right? Why you should stop trying to fight against your brain, right? Like I'm sure you've been looking. I know for me, I looked for so long. I'm looking for so long. It's like, how do I finally change like consistently with my habits? Because I keep experiencing this thing where I'm motivated, I'm going to change my life, yada, yada, yada. I go for a couple of days, maybe even a couple of weeks if I'm lucky. But every single time, without fail, I always go back to my old habits. That right there is called the snapback effect, right? You imagine an elastic band, right? Let me use my hands for this, right? You imagine an elastic band, you're pulling away from it. But eventually, it comes back, right? Snaps back, right? That's you. This is you. You're trying to run away from it. You're trying to change your life. You're trying to become someone else, but you end up snapping back every single time, right? That's the snapback effect. Was there in the book Psycho-Cybernetics. That's your brain. Your brain, like I said, Hamza said something that I remember. I won't forget it. He was like, a man cannot perform higher than who he believes himself to be, right? You just cannot. If you believe yourself to be something, you always come back to that. That's the snapback effect. That's Psycho-Cybernetics in effect. And that's your brain being like a compass, right? I spoke about how 95% of your brain is unconscious, right? Your brain has evolved to find the path of least resistance, right? And that goes for everything. You don't want to be waking up thinking about, oh, how should I take off the blanket? How should I step on the ground? Even basic things like going to the bathroom, brushing your teeth, going to the gym, whatever it is. Your brain is always looking for patterns, right? I'm the type of person who does this, so it makes you do this very easily because it's difficult. If you've ever done a task where you have to think really, really hard, right? You're studying, you're doing some kind of deep work, you're trying to solve a really difficult problem. Bro, that thing fries your brain. It is hard. And you do that for even for 5 minutes, thinking really hard about something. It takes a lot out of you, right? So your brain doesn't want to be doing that ever. It doesn't want to be doing that much, right? It just wants everything to be straightforward autopilot. And most of your life is autopilot. You scrolling on your phone, opening your phone and immediately going to Instagram or YouTube or whatever it is, that's autopilot. Your brain knows, I'm the type of person that does this. I'm just gonna make it easy to do that. It wants to save your brain power, right? And that's your brain. Like when you wake up and you decide, I want to do this or whatever it is, and then after a couple of days you go back to whatever it is. That's your brain being. It's like a compass, right? It's like a compass resetting, sending you back to the direction that it believes you're supposed to be going, right? Your brain. You don't want to fight it, okay? I hope that's one thing you've learned. Like this, and you've been trying to fight it, and you've been losing every single time because it is so powerful, right? But the good news about this is that your subconscious brain can actually be changed, right? And how it gets changed is through visualization. Now, if you're anything like me, like law of attraction is such BS. It is such BS. Oh, I manifest, yada yada. And especially as a Christian, like law of attraction is BS. Like I'm not trying to do any of that stuff. This is very different to law of attraction. It's not some woo law of attraction crap, right? This is changing what you believe about yourself so that it affects your actions, which then affect the results you get in your life. Right, that's all that this visualization thing is, right? And if you're really serious, like if you're like me, like bro, like I have been struggling like with I started self-improvement again consistently in like 2021 and I did okay, but again, snapback effect, I could never really be seriously consistent with certain things. 2022, 2023, I've been struggling. Like I've been burnt out like from studying and everything, and I've spent those 2 years just trying to figure out how, like what is that thing? And when I found Psycho-Cybernetics, I was like, this is it right here. In the book, he was like, this is the only self-improvement book you will ever need. And I was like, yes. Because I knew that like changing your identity is definitely the thing you want to be doing. Because once you change your identity, everything else just becomes so much easier, right? You believe yourself to be somebody who does something, you do it, right? And everything's on autopilot. Like I said, swimming downstream. So when I found this book, I was like, jackpot, right? So if you're feeling that right now, like you've come to the right place for sure. I feel like you found it, right? And now you need to take the visualization seriously. For me, visualizations, they've never been anything serious for me, right? I remember when I started watching Hamza, like, I like his practical advice and everything, but like visualizations, chuck that to the side. Meditation, chuck that to the side. Journaling, chuck that to the side. Like I needed a reason, like that kind of stuff. I didn't like. I can't see how it gets me from point A to point B. Can't see how it gets me to where I want to be. Journaling. I started journaling when I watched the Science of Wellbeing course, and they were like, oh, if you write down 3 things you're grateful for every single day, if you do that for 2 weeks, you'll be happier. So that's when I started journaling, right? And then I've gotten into it, like I write my feelings out or whatever it is. Like I use it to sort of sort my thoughts out, right? That's how I got into journaling. Meditating. The reason I got into meditating was because Hamza told me that it improves your focus, right? Like the reason you can't focus on like difficult tasks is because you're so overstimulated. You need to spend some time just chilling, right? Your eyes are closed and you're imagining you're focusing on your breathing, but then you realize 10 seconds later, oh, I'm thinking about some random thought, and then you're like, okay, I've caught myself not focusing, let me focus again, right? And you build that muscle, you build that muscle, you build that muscle, and that's directly translatable to working like being able to do deep work sessions. That's how I got into meditation. Visualizations, I never got into them, but now I found my reason to get into them. And the thing is, you don't need to do visualizations every day, but they're really, really powerful. Like I've always heard about, athletes visualizing and everything, and how good it is for you and whatever. But for me, I was like, what am I going to visualize, right? Like I'm not, like, I've always heard like Cristiano Ronaldo, they'd be like, I visualize myself like scoring, being this player who does this and whatever, and then he goes and he does it. And it's like, cool for you. I'm not visualizing myself doing a workout tomorrow, But this book finally gave me a reason to visualize, right? Because visualization, okay, I'll get into that now. I want to give you a study to convince you, right? They did a study on basketball, right? They took, I think they had 3 sets of people. They had one control group. They had a group that practiced for, I think it was 30 minutes or 20 minutes every single day, shooting the basketball, right? And then they had another group, they didn't touch a ball. They simply visualized themselves shooting into the basket. They visualized themselves vividly, taking the basketball, shooting, scoring threes, whatever it was, right? And then they did some experiment, after like the 20 days or whatever it was, they got everyone together and they did like a little competition. And the people that visualized, they didn't touch a basketball, they outperformed the group that actually practiced. They did not touch a ball. Like, I should understand this. They did not touch a basketball at all. But they outperformed, and convincingly as well. I don't have like the exact stats, but they outperformed. It's a very famous study as well. They outperformed convincingly the group that was practicing with a ball. That just shows just how powerful visualization is. Now, getting into what the visualization thing is that I learned in psychocybernetics, right? So we spoke about how your brain is subconscious, 95% subconscious. All the things you do, like they're very autopilot, right? And your brain is like a compass, right? It always sets you back to where it believes you're going and the type of person it believes you are, right? That subconscious, the way you change that, right, is, like I said, through visualizations. You might be thinking, how am I going to change it through visualization? So, the good thing, the cheat code, as you could say, the glitch in the matrix, is that your brain cannot tell the difference between a real lived experience and an imagined experience, right? And an example I gave you the basketball analogy, but there's also another example to do with like trauma and stuff, right? There was I forgot the exact thing, but basically there was something traumatic happened, like there was like some famous like bombing or whatever, right? And they took the brains of the people who were there, right? The people who were actually there at the bombing, very tragic what happened there, very traumatic. And then there were people who watched news coverage, right? I think it was like for 15 minutes or 30 minutes every single day for like 2 or 3 weeks. But they weren't actually there. So the people who weren't actually there at the bombing, but watched news coverage 30 minutes every single day for a couple of weeks, they had a greater like traumatic response to that event or to the mention of that event than the people who were actually there. And bro, if you've not been convinced of just how powerful like visualization in your brain is, I don't know what to say to you. But yes, your brain cannot tell the difference between a lived experience and an imagined experience. That's why something like porn addiction, right? Like when you jack off, right? Or when you masturbate, you're not actually doing anything. There's no girl there. Like you're not doing anything, right? But your brain can't tell because you're imagining, right? You're imagining that it's happening. And that's why, you're able to do it. Like that's just another crude example I can give you, right? Your brain can't tell the difference between lived experiences and imagined experiences. So that's a glitch in the matrix. We love that because we can use that. We can exploit that. How do we exploit that? Visualizations, right? You visualize. I use the basketball example, right? You can use this for anything. If you're an athlete, like you picture yourself playing a certain way, being a certain kind of player, you do that. Right, but here I want to speak about how you actually change your life, right? You visualize yourself being the person, what would the ideal person, the ideal you be doing tomorrow, right? And you want to do this properly, right? I know Maxwell Maltz in the book, he spoke about like building a mental movie, right? So you're supposed to do this over 21 days. 30 minutes every single day for 21 days. right? You just do the visualizations. You just do the visualizations, right? And he said the first 10 days you're supposed to spend those building your mental movie, right? Like you're supposed to imagine, okay, what's the ideal version of me going to be doing from start to finish tomorrow of the day, right? What time is he going to wake up? And it's vivid, bro. It is vivid. Like I said, we really want to take advantage of the fact that your brain cannot tell the difference between a lived experience and the imagined experience, right? And the way you do that is a vivid visualization, right? Vivid. So every detail, every sense, touch, smell, I forgot the other senses, a sight, hearing, and yeah, everything, right? So you imagine yourself waking up. What does it feel like? What does that alarm sound like? Are you feeling tired? What is it? Like the ideal version of you, like, I'll use my example, right? For me, it's like alarm goes off, right? How do I want to feel when that happens? I want to feel excited. Like this is like this ideal version of me, right? When the alarm goes off at 4:30 in the morning, I'm already awake. Like I'm already waking up. I'm like, okay, new day, right? Like the type of person I'm going to be like, he's got things to do, you know, no time to waste, you know, I need to do this, and I've got a packed calendar today. Excited, like I'm excited to get up, like I don't have time to be running around in bed. So, okay, instantly, like this is what I'm speaking about when I say vivid. Alarm goes off, I'm excited for the day, right? I'm looking forward to the day. Quickly throw the blanket off, turn the alarm off, do my quick prayer, and I'm up. I'm putting on my shoes, I'm walking, I'm turning on the light. This is what I mean when I say vivid, guys. When I say vivid, I mean vivid. Everything. Okay? I turn on the light. What does the light feel like? You know, I've just been asleep for 8 hours, and now this light is in my face. You know how it feels. Like this is what I mean when I say detail, and that's what Maxwell Maltz is talking about when he says like your mental movie. You build that, right? I change, I go to the bathroom, I turn on the light, I brush my teeth, everything. You go through everything. What is he gonna do? What's he gonna do, right? How's he gonna feel? You're gonna go to the gym, you're gonna have yourself a really like hard workout. Like he's gonna push to the max, leave it on the ground, leave it all on the floor. He's everything, like everything you've ever imagined. You do that, you build a proper mental movie, and you play that every single day. 30 minutes vivid, 21 days. You change your subconscious through that. You really do. And the thing is, you're not supposed to do anything else. Like just do the 21 days. Just do 21 days of 30 minutes of vivid visualizations, right? Get those done. I did it, and bro, like when I explained to you the upstream versus downstream thing, I can't explain just how good it is, okay? Like the good habits just started happening. Like I was not getting urges or anything like that. And yeah, I don't know. I've spent the last however long this video has been trying to convince you. Like I hope you really like understand what I'm saying. Just do it. You can do. I don't know about you. Like I said to you, like I spent the last like 2 years, whatever it is, really trying to figure out like how can I finally start becoming consistent so I can change my life. Like, bro, doing 30 minutes of visualizations every day for 21 days, that's light work. Like I'll do that, right? If that's gonna change my life, I'll do that. And I'm telling you now, it will change your life. So just do it. Okay, just do it. Magnifique. Okay, it is amazing. Like just do it. And yeah, okay, so we've spoken about how you can like change the person you are. Now I'm going to speak about actually changing your life. Now, if you're anything like me, you've thought for so long, for years, about the kind of life you want to be living. So you should probably have a plan in place. If you don't, right, your goals, right? I've said this before. You write out your goals. What do you want? Like, what do you want your life to look like, right? If you've been doing the visualizations, you should know. You like really think about it. And the thing is, it's exciting. It really is exciting. Like, it's not like tedious. It's exciting to. You're escaping. You're like you're kind of, and this is the thing I'm speaking about, how visualizations actually change your brain. Is that you're taking yourself out of the present and you're putting yourself in a different life, like the life you'd love. And I think I did a lot of visualizations, like inadvertently, like when I was a teenager, because I always wanted to be a footballer. And I just imagined like, oh, what would I be doing right now if I was a professional footballer? Like I remember I was like 16, I'd be like, oh, 5 years from now, and I'm 21. I'm 21 now. I'm not a professional footballer, but I always imagined, I was like, oh, I'll be a professional footballer, I'll be playing for this team, we'll be doing this, today we'll be training, or today will be the game, I'm gonna play like this, I'm gonna get an assist or whatever. Like I really like vividly like imagine. And that's the thing with visualizations, they're nice, they're fun. Like you get to pull yourself out of where you are and put yourself into the situation you'd like to be in, right? You're dreaming, you're daydreaming, right? But the thing is, you do this consistently for 21 days and you do it vividly, you will change like the very fiber of your brain, like what your brain believes you to be. And then that will change your actions and your beliefs and everything, and that actually affects your life. So like I said, if you're anything like me, you've been doing those, you should know. You should have your routine up. But if you don't, you write out your goals, write out who you want to be, right? And you write out your goals. Once you figure out your goals, you create a routine that surrounds those goals. Your routine that, like, okay, I want to get into shape, I need to work out. How long do I want to work out for? What time do I want to work out? I slot it in. Oh, I want to work out in the morning. I need to wake up early. That means I need to go to sleep early. What do I want to do before I go to sleep? I've got to work from this time to this time. I get home, I need to do this, and that. You set yourself a routine. Set yourself a routine. And then, like I said, the difficult part has always been like following the routine, but I've just explained to you how you do follow that routine, right? And the visualizations, they don't start working like day 1 or day 2, whatever. Like, it's after like 21 days. Like around 21 days, that's when you start feeling it like working. Like, it just autopilot. Like I said, it's just autopilot. All of a sudden, you're like, oh, I'm gonna go to the gym today. Like, when I started doing this, like after the 21 days, I was excited to wake up in the morning. I was so excited, bro. I was like, oh, I can't wait to do this and that. Like, it was good, right? So yeah, so I've said, like, okay, you write out, you know who you want to be. You've figured out how you're going to do that, right? You've written out your routine, and you just write why you want to do it. It's always nice to have a good why, right? It keeps you going. And yeah, so now I can go into the other aspects of like how you're actually going to change your life, like socially. Like, again, like I said, if you've been anything like me and you've really thought about this, like, visualization is exciting, right? Like, I've always dreamt about like what kind of life I want to have socially. Like, I've said this. If you watch my videos, I probably speak about this every video, honestly. But I want to have like my core group of like-minded friends that I go through life with, right? And just something, that's a simple example I can give you, right? I want to have my core group of friends. What are they going to be doing, right? They're going to be athletic, right? They're going to be at church. They're going to be on self-improvement, so probably be at the gym. And I figure out where those types of people are going to be, and you go to those places, and you go and you try and meet people, right? And you make it a purposeful thing. Like, you're social, you're meeting a bunch of people, and eventually you built the group, right? Like, that's something like I want that socially. I also like to meet like my future wife, and same thing. What type of person she's gonna be, where she's gonna be, and for me it's like church or something like that, right? Like, it's simple as that. And you go and you just go to like events and stuff and find and meet people, right? That's my social side. Financially, again, you probably thought about the avenue you want to go down. Like, for me, I'm doing accounting right now. I'm also doing like YouTube. I'd love this to be like a full-time thing, which is why I'm just being consistent and like posting, and I need to keep getting better at it, of course, and creating better videos. But like, bro, you know what you need in your life. Social, I've got to get social. I've got financially, I've also got like physically, getting into good shape, looks maxing. There's so many looks maxing videos and whatever, but you know what you need to do in your life. Like, honestly, the main thing about changing your life is like actually being consistent with the habits, because we all know what we need to do. But yeah, you guys let me know what you guys think of this. Let me know what you think of cybernetics. Make sure you subscribe to join the Self-Improvement Brotherhood, and until next time, see you, boys.